Accolade Wines is a relatively new company. It was formed about 6 years ago, but our key brand, the heritage, goes back to about 1853 with the Hardy's brand. Hardy's is our biggest brand globally, in approaching 150 countries around the world. But it's backed up by a mainly New World wine portfolio, a lot of Australian brands, so Grant Burge in Australia, and then some recently purchased brands like Petaluma and some Hallett, and quite a good range of other brands there, and across a number of different price points. But we also have wines from New Zealand with Mudhouse and Waipara Hills, from South Africa with Kamala and Flagstone at a more premium level. In Chile we have Viña Cana, which is another recent purchase. And then in the United States, Geyser Peak is our more premium wine, but we also have a brand called Echo Falls, which is a much bigger, more entry-level brand. And then a little bit of Italian, just to break the mold from, although we say we're a New World wine, we do have some Old World business as well. It's been a good year in travel retail. We had quite an established European base and relatively blank canvas outside of Europe about 4 or 5 years ago when we started to look more seriously at it, and that's allowed us to grow quite significantly. And we've had 20-30% growth each of the last 4 or 5 years, and that continues to be the case as we fill in gaps in distribution and across a number of different channels. So it's not just about airports, but we're on airline pouring, we're on cruise ships, some other downtown stores and border stores. So a really nice spread across the channels and across the brands and across the price points. In terms of where we go and the strategies and the focus is, Asia is still a key focus for us in terms of distribution and increasing our presence in the region. No specific time frame that we want to do that. Opportunities come, and as they come, we'll take them as people understand more about wine as a category and give it the space and treat it as a sort of category in its own right. Then that allows us to expand. It's always been a bit of a subset of liquor. It gets lumped into liquor. It's a very different category. It is a much lower margin category in terms of the value chain isn't as robust as it might be for spirits. That's quite a challenge for retailers and for suppliers, and the landlords could help with that to allow it to grow. So our strategy is to get in there and invest where we can, to do decent amounts of display, training, education, tasting, but we need to be able to afford to do that. And as one of the larger players, we're trying to do that. And everywhere we get an opportunity to do so, we will try and do all those things. I'm always very positive about where we're going because there's always gaps in distribution. There's always things going on in the world. Travel retail always prides itself on being able to recover from whether it's terrorism, geopolitical, disease. The passenger flows will move, and we have a really nicely balanced geographic base to our business. We have a nice balance to the channels, whether it's airports, cruises, airlines. But we know there's far, far more that we can go for in any region and in any channel that we barely touch the sides for. We're growing nicely. That's why I'm always positive about it.